Okay, greetings, other targeted individuals and other people who are not gang stalked. Today is kind of a sad day. I don't really have much to say that's not really just unfunny jokes. I wanted to do like some kind of funny video, like, here's my impression of someone who's not gang stalked. So I woke up and I did some yoga and I had some water, and it was a good start to the day. Just some clean water, no fluoride or anything that could harm me in it. And I got ready for work. I had some oats, some yogurt. I made a smoothie, healthy, and I just went to work. And I have some great colleagues. I have some like really great friends at work. They're very supportive. And we went out for lunch together, and it was, just great. Someone owed me money for last week, and they paid it back, and I didn't have to ask them, and it was just like kind of a relief. And then I got home, and my husband was waiting for me, and it's just like he's the highlight of my day every day. And he's good with my family. We're all close, and it's just like we just feel so blessed, and we want to share it. Like, just thank you for the views, and thank you for letting us share our life with you. And it's really fantastic. We just feel so safe and supported, and it's like a wonderful thing. And even I've had some issues. Like, one time I got kind of bullied just a little bit by this one person. They got fired right away, but they just kept insulting my work, kind of undermining me. And so I had to go to therapy for that for a while. And eventually it worked out that I was able to forgive them. And I did something called Radical Honesty by this guy, Brad Blanton. He has this book called Radical Honesty. And so he says that when you want to get over your resentment of someone, you just plainly tell them what you resent about them and what you appreciate about them. So I told this person, I think you're really nice. I think you're really kind. I think you're really smart. And I also think you're a bit of a perfectionist, and you put that on other people. And then you kind of expect other people to have this unrealistic standard like you have. And even though they got fired, I still wished them well. And, now we're actually friends on Facebook, and we talk, and it's like, a great life for everyone. So anyway, that's all. Have a good day. So I wanted to make a joke, like, a normal person, like how a normal person lives their life. And it wasn't funny. Like, it just wasn't working. And right after I did it, the angle wasn't good, the lighting wasn't good, and I was like, I'll change it around. And I'm sitting here, and I'm just like so sad, like I'm thinking about all these like deep issues, and meanwhile I'm just trying to be funny. Like, for example, it's a really nice day out, and I kind of want to go for a walk, but there's terrorists everywhere, and it's scary, and they're gonna do something. And then I was sort of thinking some pretty negative thoughts. And then I was also thinking, kind of processing it, kind of like, well, what if I could go for a walk and no one was there to terrorize me? What if I could go for a walk and there would be no break-in after? And I don't even know if the walks are the things that cause the break-ins. I mean, there seems to be a correlation. I don't think you can comply your way out of being gang stalked. I don't think you could just say, well, I'll just not go for walks, and they'll just stop breaking in. I think they might break in more if you go for walks, but I think it's still going to happen regardless. And part of me just thinks, if you want to go out for a walk, just go out for a walk, and maybe that's not your problem anyway. Like, when I get downstairs in my room, when I get downstairs here in the living room, like right behind you, there's a big window. As soon as I get downstairs, pretty much every time, there'll be like at least one car that drives by. Like, they're timing it with the... And I heard another TI, he said, I don't think he identifies as a TI, but he's like, he will say he's a TI, but he just doesn't identify as one. Like, he'll say I'm a TI, but I don't identify as a TI. And he says that the point of it is to show you, like, you get off a plane in Hawaii, and right when you go to the bar, the bartender says, oh, we've been waiting for you, and we know who you are. And right when I get downstairs, there's two cars that drive by our house every time. And it's to show you that you're powerless. It's to show you how you have no power. Like, look, we're everywhere. We're in your ass. We're in your food. We're in your life. We're in your mind. We're in your YouTube feed. We're in your mail. We're in your phone. We're in your house. We're in your bed. We're in your body. We're inside of you. We are you. We are you. You are a puppet to us. We have all the power. We have everything. It's like this kind of show of muscle. And so I was thinking, what if that wasn't there and I could just go out for a walk anytime I want? Would I have some other kind of existential angst? Like, would I be still feeling kind of isolated, kind of lonely? Would I just be like going for walks thinking, is that all there is? Man, I'm sure I'm bored of these walks. Now, I don't know if I even have a reference for that. I do kind of think I was targeted since birth. I've sort of thought I must have pissed someone off to get put on this list. And that's kind of what I've thought for the first few years. The first few years, I was like, oh, I know what it was. I know who it was. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's this other person. Maybe this, no, maybe it was this. Maybe it was. And the more I see targeted individuals, the more I'm realizing it's just human experimentation, it's human trafficking, and they target children too. And I could think of times when I was like, ever since I was like 4 or 5, like my earliest memories are some weird things. Like some guy walking up to our car, standing really close while I was in the passenger seat while we were parked at the side of the street. I can remember the fire truck going by like a lot of times, like thinking, is the fire truck going to drive by tonight? And things when I was like 13, like some weird issues that happened, like, you know, just and they had correlation with things in my life too. And so, you know, and it just went on, you know, like uh, when I was like maybe 10, I was at the forum rollerblading, and this guy wanted to kick my ass because we had the same pants. You know, a bunch of things like that. Someone holding my head under the water at the pool when I was like 12. And maybe I don't have a reference for what it even feels like just to not be gang stalked, because I've always felt that something was happening, and it wasn't something like people are following me. It wasn't like that, but I always felt like the way I understood things was different than how everyone else did, and I felt like I couldn't explain how it was different. And whenever I would try, it just wouldn't work. People would just be like, "What?" And I would be like, I can't explain how it's different, but I just can't see things how you see things. And I think that may have been in a general roundabout sort of way, symptom of being gang stalked. And there's more I could go into. Like, there's more evidence I could say. Like, you know, for example, one TI I was listening to recently, he said they target entire families. And I could see a lot of evidence that could be true. And I could see a lot of evidence that before I was even born, our family was targeted. Now, that being said, I don't really know. There's no one I talk to in real life who I trust isn't a gang stalker. But I don't know if, you know, I don't know if, I really don't know who's who anymore in terms of people I know in person. I don't know if they're gang stalkers or TIs and gang stalkers, because I heard that's a thing too. And so a big part of being targeted, and I used to feel like I was targeted. Like before I knew I was targeted, I felt like I was targeted. I definitely noticed the cops following me, but I just rationalized it as, well, that's just nothing. I definitely felt like I was on some kind of being watched. And there were things that would go missing sometimes, like I lost a camera, I lost a pair of shoes. Like, you know, it could just be theft. I got a pair of rollerblades stolen from the car. I got a shirt went missing. We had holes in the clothes back when I was like 14, like a whole bunch. We thought it was the washer and dryer. So we got a new washer and dryer. It could have been, I think the holes stopped going in the clothes then. So maybe that was just actually the washer and dryer. But anyway, so when I first noticed the gang stalking, I thought that it was my fault basically because I started to pay attention to the gang stalkers, and I don't know how that made it make me think it was my fault though. I think I thought that they thought that I was stalking them. There's this one girl who I saw her at like I just saw like this girl who I talked to for a bit, and then I'd see her, then she was stalking me, but I didn't know she like gang stalking me. And I would actually be nervous when I would see her because I'd think she was going to think that I was stalking her. And there was no reason to think it was my fault, but I think that was just part of the trauma. It was just part of like one of the stalkers, they referenced breaking into our house before I understood what the reference was, and it was just so creepy. And then as I'm figuring it out, I'm like basically like in a state of shock, and so I'm thinking that it's my fault, but I can't really explain how. I'm still like arguing within myself, like, no, it's not my fault. And then I realize, oh, okay, I'm being gang stalked. And then I realize, oh, okay, I was gang stalked before I even met these gang stalkers. And then I'm thinking, well, where did it start? And I keep going back and back and trying to figure it out. Who did it? How did it happen? And then I see all these TIs who are just beautiful, simple, innocent people. And I don't think you would have pissed anyone off. I don't think you would have had some incident that some narcissist got angry at you. I think it was just someone's getting paid off of this, or someone, maybe it's true, but how do you know? Like a lot of TIs, they say, well, it's because, you pissed someone off, or someone hates you, or someone wants to asset strip you or something. But how do you know how they select them to begin with? I mean, I don't really. And that was something that weighed on me kind of. It was just like feeling like it was my fault. And then once I stopped feeling like it was my fault, then I kind of got just as sad because I thought I was defending my innocence to myself. Like, no, I don't deserve this. And then once I stopped doing that, once I realized that I don't deserve to be gang stalked, then I started just being kind of upset about being gang stalked. And it just kind of transferred. Like, at first, the feeling was, I'm so upset. I feel like this is all my fault. I feel really bad. And then it changed to, this isn't my fault, but I still feel just as upset, just as hopeless, just as bad because, I mean, I can't really have a life anymore. Like they took my life. And then other times I think like I was watching these daddy pics. It's a not safe for work Reddit subforum. I was like, oh, that's strange, daddy pics. So I went to the top rated. It's like dads with boners. And so I went to the top rated pic, and there was this guy. He looked so cool. Like he's just sitting there with this huge boner, and uncircumcised, obviously. And I just thought, like, oh, I wish I could be like that guy. Like that guy looks so cool. Like he had symmetrical eyes, and he was just like, he was very obviously the top rated daddy pick. And so part of me thinks I should do foreskin restoration for like a while because I've kind of thrown in the towel. Like I've kind of just thought like my life sucks, my life is over, and everything sucks, and um, just those kind of like negative viewpoints about life, and not really very accepting of them. Kind of like bitter about it. Like life sucks, and I wish it didn't, but it does, and I just can't accept it, and it's an endless loop. And so I was thinking, and I don't really know if I have the strength to do this. Like I was looking at Richard, my cat, and he's just so great. Like he's one of the best people ever. And I was thinking, and I know I've been saying this for a long time, but I was thinking that you're going to be happier if you try to better yourself. Like I know I'm kind of like pudgy and stuff, and I don't really take care of myself. Like I don't take my foreskin restoration seriously because I'll probably never have sex again in my life anyway. And that's kind of bad. It's almost like getting AIDS, being gang stalked. Like, AIDS viruses don't exist, but it's like it's kind of like I kind of feel like money buys your way out of it. Like there are some people who are pretty famous who I think are gang stalked, and I think they have a better life than me. 5.5% of people are homeless, but 14% of targeted individuals are homeless. And sometimes I see people who I think are gang stalked who seem pretty rich. And sometimes I think if I just had a bigger net, if I was more fit and if I took care of myself, then I'd have more excitement in my life. I'd attract more people. I could make money somehow. And even besides all those outcomes that I would hope for, there's even a more central, more important motivation that I just personally want to feel how it is to be healthy. And I know how it feels because I've already been healthy. And I know it's just an upwards journey that you just get more and more healthy, like a dynamo. And I've so given up on that. And I don't even feel like I have the strength to do it. Like every single night, I think the same thing. And I'm sorry for complaining here. I mean, I don't want to vent at you here. So just cover your ears for a minute while I vent. Every single night I go to bed and I think tomorrow is the day. And then every single tomorrow I wake up and I go, oh, I should get some cereal. And, basically to be healthy, I have to eat only fruit, which is fucking nearly impossible. But let me tell you how impossible it is. So to eat fruit, you have to eat fruit that's picked ripe. Otherwise, it's too acidic. It hurts your teeth. It sucks. It doesn't have enough calories because it's not sweet enough. And if you eat enough fruit to get enough calories to compensate for the fact that it's not sweet, which means it doesn't have calories, then you have to eat so much volume that you can't even eat that much volume to get enough calories. So then therefore, the only thing there is to eat is apples, which are picked when they're ripe and they're stored in some special airtight container all year. But then you have to eat just apples, and eating like 6 apples a day for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner every day for, I've done that for like months basically. Not literally every day, but close to it. Like I've eaten like 25 to 50 pounds of apples a week on the regular. And that is a way to get very healthy very fast. That's like a crazy, crazy fast way. And otherwise, the only time we have good fruit here is in the summertime. And, I'm getting older. I want to be healthy. I want to have a functional body, which foreskin restoration is pretty much impossible while eating cooked food. It's very rare to find someone who's done it successfully. Like if you go on the foreskin restoration forums, you could almost never find someone who's done it, like who's regrowing all 15 square inches. But I know from experience that eating fruit, it's much easier. And so if I ate like